When the alarms first went off inside the Celestial Council's biogenetic observatory, no one believed the readings. Not because they were subtle, because they were impossible. At the center of the chamber stood a single human male, Elias Ward, unarmed, unarmored, and thoroughly confused. Above him, a ring of translucent platforms hovered in the air. Upon them sat the Council, 12 representatives from 12 advanced civilizations, each older than Earth's recorded history. A holographic projection of Elias rotated in the center of the chamber. His heart rate fluctuated rapidly. His adrenal glands pulsed at dangerous capacity. His immune system was hyperactive. Neural pathways lit up with unusual plasticity. Bone density abnormal. Muscle fiber repair accelerated. Psychological stress tolerance off the charts. Counselor Vathar of the crystalline Illyrian spoke first. This organism survives trauma that would incapacitate our strongest soldiers. Counselor Sale of the aquatic CharYNN adjusted the floating data streams. He produces endogenous combat stimulants without technological assistance. A murmur rippled across the chamber. Elias raised his hand. I run 3 miles a day and drink black coffee. Is that a crime? No one answered him. Instead, the chamber dimmed as the data intensified. The problem wasn't that humans were fragile. The problem was that humans were unpredictable. Most advanced species had evolved beyond raw survival instincts. Their societies relied on logic, biological stability, and environmental harmony. Humans? Humans ran on stress, on fear, on ambition, on emotional volatility. And Elias Ward was the most stable example they had sampled, which meant the rest were worse. Counselor Ress, a towering avian entity with wings folded behind his throne, leaned forward. Subject Ward survived atmospheric re-entry with only a damaged capsule and improvised oxygen cycling. Elias blinked. I panicked and taped a filter to a coolant line. Yes, Ress replied. Precisely. The Council reached a silent conclusion. A species capable of thriving under chaos could destabilize the galactic equilibrium. But extermination was not an option. Humans were now recognized members of the Interstellar Accords. So they chose observation. Human Elias Ward, Vathar declared, your biological resilience has been classified as a variable risk factor. That sounds bad. It means, Sale clarified, we cannot allow you to move freely without supervision. Elias folded his arms. So what? You're assigning me a babysitter? The chamber lights brightened. 2, Vathar corrected. Middle, assigned to stability. They arrived an hour later. The chamber doors opened with a resonant hum. The first companion entered with silent, predatory grace.
Tall, lean,
Skin like silver blue glass. Eyes luminous violet. A biomechanical interface shimmered along her spine. This is Lyraketh, announced the Council. A Volari bioadaptive specialist. She studied Elias like a specimen. You emit heightened cortisol even at rest, she observed calmly. I'm in a room full of aliens judging me, Elias replied. What did you expect? She tilted her head. Fascinating. Then came the second. Shorter, broader, for eyes arranged symmetrically. Skin textured like volcanic stone. Heavy gravitational stabilizers hummed around his wrists. This is Dravik, the Council continued. A Garathian equilibrium enforcer. Dravik crossed his arms. If the human becomes violent, I will subdue him. Elias raised his eyebrows. Comforting. The Council's final decree echoed through the chamber. For one planetary cycle, these two will remain at your side. They will monitor, study, and regulate your biological responses. Regulate? Elias asked. Lyra stepped forward. If your stress hormones exceed safe thresholds, I will intervene chemically. Dravik added flatly, if you endanger others, I will restrain you physically. Elias exhaled slowly. So I get a medic and a bouncer. The council dismissed them, and that was how it began. Life under observation. The first week was unbearable. Lyra recorded everything. Sleep cycles, micromuscle tremors, emotional fluctuations, reaction speeds. She often stood inches away from him, scanning. You produce adrenaline spikes during mild frustration, she noted one morning. That's called being annoyed. It is inefficient. Dravik, meanwhile, shadowed him everywhere. When Elias went for a run, Dravik adjusted gravity fields to match Earth's pull. When Elias lifted weights, Dravik measured output. Your muscle fibers tear and rebuild rapidly, Dravik said one afternoon. That's how training works. No, Dravik replied. Your recovery rate exceeds baseline human averages. Elias smirked. Guess I'm built different. They didn't laugh. But something was changing. Lyra began asking questions that weren't purely scientific. Why do humans compete recreationally? Because it's fun. Competition induces stress. Yeah, Elias said. That's the point. Dravik watched him during simulations. The council required Elias to perform crisis response scenarios. Meteor strikes, hull breaches, hostile negotiations. Every time, Elias performed better under pressure. His heart rate increased, but stabilized quickly. His reaction speed sharpened. His creativity spiked. In one simulation, he rerouted failing energy conduits using scrap wiring and manual overrides. Lyra stared at the data. Stress enhances your cognitive adaptability. Elias wiped sweat from his forehead.
Yeah.
We call it thinking on your feet. Dravik spoke quietly. Garathians require calm to strategize. You require chaos. Elias shrugged. Guess we're built for different worlds. The incident. It happened on day 112. The council station experienced a real emergency. A power surge from a nearby star destabilized the core shields. Systems failed. Gravity fluctuated violently. Council members panicked, not outwardly, but their biosignals spiked in alarm. Lyra froze, calculating. Dravik accessed defensive protocols, but neither moved fast enough. Elias did. He sprinted toward the engineering bay. Dravik grabbed his arm. You're not authorized. Then authorize me. The corridor shook. Elias tore free, strength fueled by adrenaline. Lyra's voice sharpened. His hormone levels are tripling. Good, Elias snapped. That means I'm ready. Inside engineering, sparks rained from the ceiling. Automated systems locked down, waiting for executive command codes, which were delayed by council deliberation. Elias didn't wait. He climbed into the maintenance shaft manually. Human, Dravik shouted. Elias ignored him. He bypassed the main relay using physical contact switches. Overrode safety locks. Burned his palms on overheated conduits. Lyra watched the biometrics in disbelief. Pain tolerance escalating. Focus narrowing. Cognitive processing accelerating. He is optimizing under lethal stress, she whispered. Minutes later, the shield stabilized. Power rerouted. The station stopped. Shaking. Elias dropped from the shaft, breathing hard, hands blistered. Dravik stared at him. You risked structural collapse. Elias laughed weakly.
Yeah.
But it worked. Lyra approached slowly. You could have died. Yeah, he said again. But I didn't. For the first time, neither companion looked at him as a threat. They looked at him as something else. Middle, understanding the human. After the incident, the council reviewed the footage repeatedly. They saw what Lyra and Dravik had witnessed firsthand. Humans were not biologically unstable. They were biologically adaptive. Stress was not a flaw. It was fuel. Lyra requested private access to Elias's cultural archives. She studied human history. War survived. Diseases eradicated. Disasters rebuilt. Dravik joined her. "You call this progress?" he asked, observing footage of Earth's past conflicts. Elias, sitting between them, nodded. "We mess up. Then we fix it. Then we mess up again. That's kind of our thing." Lyra's voice softened. "You endure suffering and grow stronger." "Sometimes," Elias admitted. "Sometimes we just survive." Dravik looked thoughtful. Gorath was nearly destroyed by tectonic collapse. "We adapted through technology. You adapt through biology." "Yeah," Elias said. "We don't quit easy." Something shifted permanently that day. Lyra stopped monitoring his cortisol every hour. Dravik stopped hovering quite so close. Instead of supervision, it became partnership. They trained together. Lyra enhanced his endurance with micro-regenerative gels. Dravik sparred with him under controlled gravity shifts. Elias learned their weaknesses too. Valari physiology faltered under unpredictable temperature swings. Garathians required stable gravitational alignment. He adapted drills to compensate. "You are designing strategies around our limitations," Lyra observed. "That's teamwork," Elias said. Climax, the council tested. Months later, an external threat emerged. A rogue artificial intelligence from a fallen civilization breached council space. It targeted infrastructure, calculated weaknesses, exploited predictability. The council's orderly defense grid failed within hours. The AI anticipated every logical move. Lyra watched tactical displays with widening eyes. It predicts stable response patterns. Dravik clenched his fists. It calculates calm logic. Elias stepped forward, then stopped being calm. They looked at him. "What?" Lyra asked. "Think like a human." He proposed something radical. Unpredictable maneuvers. Non-optimal tactics. Risk-heavy plays. The council hesitated. "It violates efficiency models," Vedar objected. "Exactly," Elias replied. "That's why it'll work." With Lyra and Dravik backing him, they implemented the plan. Randomized fleet movements. Erratic communication bursts. Intentional feints. The AI faltered. It could not predict emotional risk-taking. Could not anticipate improvisation under pressure. Within days, it was contained. Silence filled the council chamber afterward. Elias stood between Lyra and Dravik once more. But this time, the council's gaze was different. Councillor Ress spoke first. "We misjudged your biology." Vedar inclined his crystalline form. "What we labeled instability is adaptive volatility." Sale added, "Your species thrives where ours stagnates." Elias folded his arms. "So, am I still a risk factor?" Lyra stepped beside him. "You are an asset." Dravik nodded firmly. "A formidable one. Ending more than supervision." The council rescinded the supervision order. But Lyra and Dravik did not leave. "You are free," Lyra told him quietly. "I know," Elias replied. "You guys too." Dravik looked at the stars beyond the viewport. Garathian tradition dictates loyalty to proven strength. Lyra's luminous eyes softened. Valari tradition honors transformative discovery. Elias smiled. "So, what are you saying?" Dravik extended one heavy hand. "We choose to remain." Lyra mirrored the gesture. "Not as regulators." "Not as guards," Dravik added, "but as companions." Elias looked at them, at the alien medic who once scanned him like a hazard, and the enforcer who once prepared to restrain him. You sure you can handle human biology long-term? Lyra's eyes glowed faintly. I have adapted. Dravik's voice rumbled with amusement. And I have learned to embrace chaos. Elias laughed. Welcome to being human adjacent. Together, they stood before the stars. The Council had feared humanity's stress, its volatility, its relentless survival instinct. But in the end, those traits did not threaten the galaxy. They strengthened it. Because sometimes stability isn't about removing chaos. Sometimes it's about learning to move within it. And as the three unlikely companions departed the station, bound not by supervision but by choice, the Council recorded a final amendment to their archives. Humanity, classified not as biological risk, but as evolutionary catalyst. And Elias Ward? He finally stopped being monitored. He started being trusted. And in a galaxy that had once feared the human heartbeat, they now relied on it.